Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to I Didn't Kill Myself This Week. Hi, friends. Welcome to I Didn't Kill Myself This Week. This episode goes over fetal demise and what happened with me and losing Vida at 8 months. First off, I want to say if you are listening because you had this happen to you and is curious what helped me, I'm sorry. It's truly an out-of-body feeling that can't be described. So let's get started. First off, how was your guys' week?
Good. Good enough. This
Anything
this weekend was awesome. We went mushroom picking
Again.
yeah, it's really late in the season, but we just went because we're learning, so we collected them and then identified them when we got home. We had some friends come out with us. Everly was there and Charlotte, and then the boys had a fire. Yeah, it was really nice.
So fun. That is nice. Go ahead, Z.
Not only did we come home with some very gross looking rotting mushrooms, we came home with some really beautiful mushrooms as well, but a giant bin full of clay.
Oh, yes. Nice. More clay then. So
More
you've been
clay.
going to the same spot that you went last week?
No,
Oh, a new spot with
and
new
just
clay.
Beautiful clay. Oh, so beautiful.
So
I'm so
nice.
excited. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had good clay, and then we didn't really do much else this weekend. How about you? You were camping, right?
Yeah, we went camping. We went dirt biking. Poor Tanner, his stupid brand new bike, the battery is just a goner on it, but to replace it, it's over $500 or something ridiculous for this specific battery. Yes, I know that's insane, Natalia. I know. I see the face.
About that.
Yes, so we are going to complain and see what we can do. I hurt my knee again. I think I tore my MCL again, but the other knee. But at least I know how to heal it this time. I'm not going to go to the doctors for it. I'm just going to do what I do.
That's really the question I want to ask. How did you do that?
I did crash someone else's bike, and I broke their, I just call it a disc. It is not called that. I broke something on their bike. It's not a huge fix, but I felt bad. But it was probably one of the most entertaining weekends I think I've had in... Is that your phone?
No, it's my TV. My fireplace ended, so now it's playing,
Sing?
It was advertising for Sing. I'm gonna put my fireplace back on.
Oh, that's funny.
Sorry.
No.
All about the ambiance, you know?
Yes. I agree. There was some fights. There was some peeing of the bed with some people. There was
Adult people?
Oh, it was your husband. I know you can't say, but I hope it was.
No, I promise it wasn't. But I'll have to tell you guys more about it later. But it was probably one of the funniest weekends that I've experienced in a long, long time. Oh. But I did get to ride, so that was really fun. But yeah, it was a good weekend overall.
That's awesome. That sounds like a good time.
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
Well, I got my passport, Vienna.
It's about dang time.
I know. Very good. So now I can come without
We want to go
stress.
camping to Cape again, so that should be fun.
Yeah, that'd be
okay.
Awesome.
Everybody, what's your little yogi tea mantra?
Well, read yours first, V.
This says, know that you are a child of the universe.
Mine says, accept the challenge you are facing. It may become your greatest gift. Boom.
I mean, that applies, right? Find strength in knowing that you can make a difference in the world. I don't really fully believe that. I can make a difference in my world.
Yes.
But not
the world.
The entire world. No.
Yeah. Other people's worlds.
Yeah, other people's worlds. Yeah.
Okay, but funny side note about the tea, Natalia's like, oh, I'll boil water and make tea. And I was like, okay, lovely. And then I didn't see her bring me tea. And so I was downstairs.
It's in a different cup.
and washed my car seats today. And I was putting those together and I was like, oh man, she didn't even boil that much water. Like, there's barely enough left for me. So I poured a cup and then I came upstairs and I'm sitting down and I look over and like, oh, she did. She just left it in the room for me. So Quinn's drinking it now. So thank you for that.
Lovely, lovely. Okay. I'm not fully sure how to start this topic. Do you guys have questions?
Here,
Don't
I
have
can like
questions like
I was
last time.
thinking of reading Mom's poem, part of it,
Oh,
gross.
yeah.
to kind of give people like a laydown of what happened that day, because I feel like Mom's poem goes over it so well.
It does
It
summarize
does.
it.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
for anyone that doesn't know us, I feel like
I'll
we
do a quick
should
little summary.
like summarize like you've been trying to get pregnant.
Yeah, I'll do a quick summarize first. Okay, so I forget what I was saying.
You're
You were
talking
gonna
about your baby
summarize.
dying.
Yeah.
I do know that. Okay, so oh yes, that's what I was saying. For the lovely people that asked me what happened, like within 2 weeks of it happening. You are idiots. Don't ask people that. If someone loses a child, don't ask, oh, but how? You're stupid if you do that. Anyway, so I hope you're listening and I hope you hear this to the people that said that. Summary. We were trying, I think it was only 4 months. It wasn't too long in the realm of trying, I don't think. And it was just before New Year's. I think like the 27th or 8th that we found out that we were pregnant. Anyways, we'd always wanted a girl. Her name was Vida Blue. I'd had that name picked out since I was 15 because I heard a little girl named Vida Blue at a salon that I worked at, and she was named after a baseball player. His first name is Vida, last name Blue, but put together Vida Blue. Anyways, so yeah, we found out that we were having a girl, I think in April. My family did an awesome gender reveal. And then I will jump to where we lost her now. I was working with, well, actually no, I'm gonna go back, sorry. During the pregnancy, there wasn't any complications that the doctors thought were complications, but now that I look back, I believe they were complications because I don't think what what they said was normal was normal. So at 26 weeks, how many months is that? Like 5-ish? I don't know. It's somewhere around there. I don't know. Tanner and I were working again, but
6.5.
6.5 months. Okay. We were working in Seattle together and we did the deed and I started just like gushing blood, started bleeding, and we called our nurses and we're like, hey, is this normal? Because when you look it up on the internet, it says, yes, it's normal that you can bleed after sex. They say it's usually just like, it shouldn't be more than a pad's worth, but this was definitely more. So I went in, I got monitored for, I believe, 2 nights that I was there. And they said everything was normal. They did lots of ultrasounds. They checked my cervix and everything like that. And they said everything was fine. So then we went on, and I think after that, maybe 3 times post-sex, I bled again, but it was little this time, like nothing that stood out to me where I was like, oh, I should go back in. So yes, jumping to the day. Again, we're down in Coos Bay this time, so we are 4 hours from home. I just hadn't been feeling her kick, and I was getting anxious, and everybody was like, no, it's okay. And I was like, no, I really, I'm not feeling her kick. So then I was doing like, I never eat ice cream because I'm a health freak, so I was like eating ice cream, like maybe the sugar rush and the cold will make her move, and then I'm chewing on a bunch of ice and ice water and kind of trying all the different little tips and tricks that they say to do in this situation. And that was at night. So the next day, I'm supposed to go. Oh, I did a job with Tanner that morning. It was really, really short. So I'm like, okay, we'll just do it. And then, I want to go to the doctor's afterwards. And I kind of feel bad because Tanner's like, no, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Like, everything's fine. This is when we're at the hospital. And we kind of fought about going into the hospital because it was out of network, which I think it's so unfortunate that sometimes you base your decisions on like at back home in Canada, you would never. You just go to the closest hospital and it's not a question. You just go and you get taken care of. Yes, sometimes a longer wait, but thankfully with it being a small hospital, um we went in, Tanner and I were arguing about like, oh, it's going to cost us so much money. So we started walking out and a sweet old lady, I'll always remember her. She's like, no, no, like it says right here on the wall that we have to help you. You have to help a pregnant mom, whether or not like you have the money or not. You just go do it. So we went back up and we waited 5 minutes maybe, got taken back, and they did the first ultrasound. It was this sweet lady, woman, I should say. She's not old, she's young. And I knew immediately that she was already gone at this point. And poor Tanner still, like, in his head thought that she was there. So he's, like, watching her face, and I'm watching her face, because you can always kind of read people's faces. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna go. It was, like, a little bedside one, and then they have the bigger bedside one. She's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go. We're gonna try the bigger bedside table. And I was like, uh-huh, okay. Like, I'd already known at this point. So they bring it in, and I looked at her and I was like, hey, like, if she's gone, just please tell me. Like, I don't want to have to wait until the doctor comes in to tell me, because it's not supposed to be the nurse. So yeah, pretty much. But I knew before she told me. Actually, she didn't end up telling me. I looked at her and I just asked. I was like, hey, is she gone? And she said yes. And, then we had our breakdown, and doctor came in, and then we did some paperwork, and that was that at that hospital. I want to say that took like an hour and a half between like the waiting, the back and forth with the doctors, the paperwork and all that stuff. And then we had a dreaded 4-hour drive to Portland from, pardon me, Coos Bay. And for some reason in my head, I don't know, I think you just hope like, oh, I don't have to push out this baby. Like, you don't think you're gonna have to still give birth, but you obviously do. In my head, I thought, oh, like, you go under and you get a C-section or whatever, which would be a way worse decision. Like, I'm so glad that wasn't what was the normal, because, yeah. Anyways, so we're driving there. That was the first time Tanner and I were ever in a car together where we had like pretty much complete silence, like no music, no nothing, just silence. It was the longest drive ever. And Dad and Kingsley were already, so Kingsley was in Canada visiting you guys, and Dad and Kingsley were already on their way. And when I was at the hospital, I had called Mom and I had let her know. And for any moms, if you ever find out, I hope you can react in the same way that my mom did. She just said, okay, like very calmly, just everything was calm, which is good, because in that moment you don't need any other reaction, really. And I didn't tell Dad right away. I just wanted Mom or Zena to tell him, because he was driving Kingsley, and that stressed me out. I didn't want him to like be having a panic attack while he's driving King through Seattle, which is to me one of the worst places to drive. And then we got to the hospital, the midwives came, the nurses came, and I started getting induced. Now, I don't remember exactly what I got induced with. I did get an epidural because I am pro epidural. I do not enjoy that much pain. To my sweet, lovely Chloe, who chooses to do it all natural, you go, girl. That's not me.
It's also, I just want to like side note though, it's so different when you're being induced. I've only ever been induced, but like especially early, like your body is gonna fight you nonstop. Your body is
Yeah.
not ready at that point.
Yeah,
So
I didn't even think of that. But yeah.
epidural all the way.
Yes. And to me, like, I didn't find the people always say, like, oh, if you don't get an epidural, the postpartum first week is way easier, way better healing, this, and that, because you're listening to your body, you're pushing when you're pushing. But I still felt like my contractions, and I still pushed when I was supposed to be pushing. And I do not feel like my postpartum was bad at all. Like, it wasn't that bad. I think my butthole hurt more because I told her, I was like, I do not want to poop. You are not going to let me poop. So I swear, it was like the pressure of the baby, and I think the pressure of her hands. Like, I think that was the only thing that was sore afterwards. It wasn't that bad. Okay, so back, yes, I got induced. And mom had gotten there. So once I had told mom, she pretty much packed, left Canada, drove to Portland. She got there, I think, an hour after I got there, or something like that. It wasn't too long after.
Yeah, it was like 45 minutes after.
Yeah, it was pretty soon after, and that's when I got induced.
Although that drive while watching her little thing on Seattle
So slow.
through seemed like bloody
It was
forever.
painful watching her because we wanted her to be with you, so we kept checking her location.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I got induced, and then that was the evening, and then that night I just slept, and I slept hard. I was so exhausted, so tired. Poor mom did not sleep. Tanner slept a little bit, I believe. But it was like I don't think mom slept at all. And then the next morning, I think it was 7 something. I have it in the book right here. I have a little book. I'll have to explain that in a second. 7 something that I gave birth. I don't remember how long I pushed for. I don't believe it was very long, maybe 45 minutes, because I think that's what it was with King. I believe both births were very similar. And then, yeah, I pushed for 45 minutes. She came out. I held her probably for a couple hours. Again, my memory of that day is pretty foggy, but I believe it was for a couple hours. I let them then. Mom got to hold her. Tanner got to hold her. Sandra, my mother-in-law, did not want to hold her. It was just too emotional for her. And then I let her go out of the room for a few hours while we did like all of the paperwork, all the post I don't know, post hospital crap that you have to deal with, and 1,000 people that came by to check. I don't know. There's just like all these different things that they do that are lovely,
There's a
I'm
lot of
sure.
social workers and church people and everything to make sure you're going to be okay after, right? Is that stuff?
Yes, exactly, which was really nice it's really nice for me to see that for people that don't have the family support that I do, but having a family like I do, having the family like I do, it was not needed for me. But they were all still so lovely to come by and check on me and everything like that. Um, and then before we left the hospital, I had her come back in, and it was cute. They put a little bow on her and had her in a little outfit, and we said goodbye, and that was that. She looks, people say like Kingsley, but I'm unsure. But I'm sure she does look like Kingsley. We didn't get to see her eye color. Um, Another thing is she was gone for like a day or two, even maybe. So she's very swollen. Like there was liquid at the bottom of her ankles and her skin. You could see the skin peeled off of her. The skin was like peeled off of her face and kind of on her hands, I believe, as well. Which kind of helped in the sense that she looked more alive. She didn't get quite blue ever. She looked very like pink and bright, which was kind of nice, I would say. But yes, this all happened because I forget the exact wording, and I wasn't going to go look up all my medical stuff. I just don't want to. but it was my placenta. She was not getting enough blood supply. And it's like, I believe it's called placental deficiency, or I don't know, something like that. Do not quote me. I'm not a doctor, but that's what it was. And now I'm going to be high risk if we do choose to have another baby. And I actually have my appointment coming up in 2 weeks for a perinatal something specialist. And they kind of go over all of your, pretty much all of your life's history, anything that could have caused this. They kind of look deeper into it because we did get an autopsy. We did do blood work on both her and myself as well, some work on the placenta, I believe. But that's the answer that they have so far. And when you get that, they say it can be something like, what's it called? When you get really, really sick through a virus, like a really bad virus from another country. And then there's
Influenza?
just like different things. So, not influenza, not the flu. No, more
Mm.
more like Zika or something more like, I don't know. Anyways, there was a second reason I forget, but it also didn't apply to me. And then the third reason was they don't know. So
The
that's where I
factor
fall.
5 was one where they thought it might be, because Xena has that too, right?
Yes, but I don't have factor five. And then they thought, oh, maybe it could have been my thyroid because when I was in the hospital, my thyroid was like out of the roof. But that was caused from this, like, the stress and anxiety. My body just was feeling the things.
Mm.
So trying to think. Do you guys have questions first off?
Were you happy to hold her for that long? Do you think it made saying goodbye harder?
Mm-mm. No. So initially, Tanner and I were both like, we don't like. I was like, I just want to push her out, get it done over with. Don't want like anything. I don't want to see her or anything. I was just in such like a, I don't know. I
State
don't
of
know if it
shock?
was like yeah, like I said, out of body experience. You don't expect that to happen, especially because they always say like after, I think it's 23 weeks, I'm pretty sure, it's kind of like your safe zone. And you're never really truly in a safe zone, but after that point you kind of feel because like you are, because and they can be born successfully after that many weeks.
After 28 weeks, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's less.
Is that?
Anyways, it doesn't really matter. 23, 26, 28, something like that. It's one of those ones that they can be born and successfully be healthy little babies. So you just don't expect it.
Yeah, that
Also,
could too.
my brain is complete mush, so I'm that's another thing of postpartum is my brain is mush, so I forget what I was talking about.
I had another
But
question,
you were
Vienna.
asking me. So sorry. I'll quickly finish
Yeah.
answering that. So I initially, right, I didn't want to hold her, and then once she was born, I wanted to hold her. And yes, it was hard saying bye to her, but it didn't make it harder saying bye.
Yeah.
But saying bye was very hard. And what's your other question?
It's more on the morbid side. But I've actually been curious.
Yeah.
Um, just with her being gone for so long and stuff, was she stiff and she just came out of your body? Did she feel cold?
Mm-mm. No, she wasn't cold right away. She was very limp. No, she wasn't stiff at all. Just the liquid, like just the fluid. So she was very swollen. Like her
Mm-hmm.
chest was swollen, her face was swollen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, her skin peeled back.
That's
So
kind of
yeah,
nice
that's not
too.
morbid. That's
Yeah.
normal.
Well, I'm just thinking, well, my thoughts are more morbid, but yeah, that's really good. I'm glad that it could have been worse. Blue and stiff and so dead.
Yes.
I'm
No.
very, yeah, good.
Yeah. Um, and then poor Xena. So when Mike called my mom, Xena, I hadn't known about this. This was a surprise for me. Um, but Mom, when she told Xena was working on a huge, beautiful playhouse that she was doing for Vida. And I think that just about kills her.
Well, we had like started it, me and Natalia, but when Mom first came up, she came into the room and it was again one of those like, oh, I could physically see her, but kind of like last week's episode where it was like, I know something is
Bad.
wrong, and I thought something happened to Kingsley. I thought Dad got into an accident. So I was already like,
Mm-hmm.
and then she told me what had happened, and I'm not like, not a big crier, not a very expressive person. I crumbled. I am
Mm-hmm.
not, I could barely function. It was not super great.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it was, it was like this attests to having like a really awesome family though. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't function as a human right now. I I chose not to go to you because I thought Mom knew what to do. Mom lost for backstory. Our mom had lost her firstborn um in the birth process because the doctors screwed up essentially. And so I was like, okay, Mom knows what to do. It's already overwhelming. There's too much going on. But I was able to phone my family and be like, hey, can you just take my kids for a couple hours? I can't right now be the best parent I can be. And then I actually don't remember much else. I know I waited till Natalia was home from work,
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
which I think she was pissed at me for.
I was only upset because if I had known when you guys found out, I could have gone with Mom to see
Hmm.
Vienna and been there for that, and I would have felt useful, like more of a support. But it all worked out in the end because then I was able to go after Mom and Dad had been there and then spend 2 weeks, which I think was kind of nicer, a little bit more spread out, less all at once. And then, like with Xena, with the dollhouse, I was all gung ho for it too. Until after Vida passed, I did not want to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like all Xena wanted to do, so I tried my best to be helpful, but it was like the last thing I wanted to do.
Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
was like fully like manic while I was working
Yeah.
on it.
And
And
my reaction, I am a super emotional person, and I actually didn't cry at all. I didn't cry until a couple days later because of a stupid song. Sorry.
Remember me?
Yeah, it was brutal. Xena's like, "Oh, Bronson asked me to play this song this morning. You I hear it? It was so awful." Puts it on, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw
like
up now.
Yeah.
sobbing. It was
Oh,
brutal.
speaking of which, Natalia, you wanted to share the song that gets you through the week.
Oh, yes. Right now it's Mood Swings by Marcus King. It's been my song for actually a couple weeks.
I'll
I have
have
a
to
couple
listen to it.
songs, but for this week, that's the one. I feel the mood swings.
Z.
Honestly, I've been listening to audiobook and reading books, so I haven't been listening to as much. Like, there's music always on in the house, but I haven't
Yeah.
listened to like a specific song.
Mhm.
But I have put on recently Honest Mistake by The Bravery for like it nostalgic purposes, I think. Been listening to that.
I haven't been listening to like any specific songs. I've been listening to a lot of Riley Green, but Tanner's cracking me up. He's been listening to Wanna Be Loved by the Red Clay Strings
Hmm.
and been getting in his feels about Vido. I feel sad for him.
That was actually one really beautiful thing about Tanner when I was there after. Like Vienna, you were just go, 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 keeping distracted, trying to like function. And I think I only saw you cry maybe 4 times in the entire 2 weeks I was there.
Hmm.
But Tanner, he would just like put on a sad song multiple times in the day, have a little cry, go sit
Yeah.
outside with a drink, have a little cry.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
His
good. He's feeling his feels.
Yeah, music gets him in his feels for sure.
Yeah.
So let's discuss. I mean, I feel like I want to ask more questions about what happened, but also like we don't know more. We don't know what like if anything specific led up to it. We don't like, but why don't you tell us like what happened and what helped you kind of
Post.
be able to survive and not kill yourself any of those weeks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, family, first off. So, like Natalia said, mom and dad, they were here for, I believe, a whole week. Yeah. So they came, they were here for a whole week. It was amazing support. They're crazy, but they're so great. It's just so nice to have people here. And then my family, they had set it up so that we had we had for a whole month people here. Whether so it started out as mom and dad, and then the 2 weeks after that Natalia came and was here, and then I believe after Natalia was Taylor, my cousin, that came. And then Zena, did you come out? You didn't come for a little bit, right? You weren't able to?
No, I can't. I think, well, what had
Something.
happened was the day, like a day before everything kind of happened, my passport had
Oh,
expired.
yes, that's what it was.
Otherwise, I probably would
Would
have
have.
come too.
Yeah.
But I
Also,
also think it was good that I didn't. But, oh, go ahead, Talia. What?
I was gonna say, also, weren't you supposed to go another time, but then Quinn had his back surgery coming
Oh,
up?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
just
I
got.
planned it that way. And then like planned to go for a week or something. And then Quinn, it was like a very quick series of events, ended up getting in really quickly for back surgery.
Mhm.
So he had a discectomy. He his disc had broke. And
I
it
feel
was a
like
All
we'll
whole
the
thing.
fun
probably talk about
things.
that next week because
That's a
it's your
whole
turn.
not even important.
So yeah, with that, how I reacted to keep myself going is I am very much a busybody. So I got a lot of house projects done. When Natalia was here, we did our kitchen backsplash. We built a new mailbox. We did lots of yard work. And then when Taylor came, we did lots of yard work again. We went to Bend for a weekend and we spent time there. And then, yeah, I just stayed very, very busy. If I did want to cry, I would just go in the shower and cry because I don't like crying in front of people. I just don't. It's not my thing. Um, and then, of course, the support of everybody that I know. I got, I think the day we came back from the hospital, people sent groceries and cozy things, robes. I got gifts that I got two necklaces. One was that said Vida Blue, another one that had both Kingsley and Vida on there, a bracelet. um, just an unimaginable amount of support from the people that we're surrounded by. Flowers, cards, everything. Even our little neighborhood, the cul-de-sac, they went in and they got a DoorDash gift card. Just like very, very sweet. Everybody gave space, but also gave support, which was space was nice just because you don't want to talk about it to anybody else at the time. Now I'm fine with it and I actually enjoy it. It's kind of also now my coping mechanism is like being able to talk about it. And I think you get to a point where you're scared to forget, so you like bring out the stuff every now and then and you go over it. Zena did finish the Playhouse and she sent me the video of it. It's amazing. And I actually this weekend I get to see it the first time in person because I haven't got to go to Canada and it's so big that we haven't brought it back home. Um, and this book was by far the best gift. If you're on video, you'll see it. It's this blue book. And it has pretty much everybody that I'm close with from Canada wrote in it and left beautiful messages, poems, everything. And then I've gone in and I've added the bracelet that the hospital made for her. It's so stinking cute. I put her hair in here. I'm gonna read some parts out of this in a bit, but yes, this book, and then after, like, she left pages in it so I've put all the cards in here that everybody else gave me from here. So it pretty much has everything that people have given us in here. So that helped me. And then yeah, it's just been a whole lot of support, and I postpartum I think has been hard for me. I have a poem. I'll have to read it in a minute, but yeah, I think that's how I healed and got through it. And also Kingsley having another, like, if I went through this without having a baby, I think it was really hard, but I think harder just because you aren't as distracted and you don't have him making you smile and laugh. And um he didn't even know when I came home from the hospital yet. And he comes running up to me and gives me a big hug and goes, "Mommy, I'm here for you." And it was just because someone told him to say that. It was very sweet, and it just, my heart shattered. He kills my heart all the time. Um, but
Um,
yeah, I think that's what helped me.
Vienna also took like some steps to create like boundaries with everyone. After it happened, she put out like you wrote a letter to your neighbors, I think, because it's kind of it's like a little cul-de-sac, little community,
Hmm.
and she had been able to like, oh yeah, how did you get that out there actually?
I wrote a letter, and um, yeah, I wrote a letter, and then I had dad deliver. Natalia's opening up a bottle of wine. I had dad go and deliver all of them to the houses just in the cul-de-sac.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, they all respected our space and they were really nice. And then again, with other people, I did post fairly recent after we lost her just because so many people already knew, because bad news spreads fast. It's just how
Hmm.
it goes, and that's expected. And I was okay with that just as long as people were were good, and they were. They truly were.
Yeah, and
Um,
it was nice. You like put out a post and you're like, hey, I'll read your messages when I get to them, but I'm not going to respond.
yeah.
And I thought that like you handled that really well.
And I
Yeah.
truly didn't respond. And I still, like, people still message me. And I don't know, my energy for responding has just been close to zero. So I feel bad. I do try and, like, I'm not talking even about Vida, but just like responding to people on social media, I find still hard to do. It's just not what I put my energy into right now. Um, but yeah, I think that is kind of how I healed.
I
Yeah.
rarely respond to people in any day, everyday life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Um, nobody has read my poem. It's not a poem. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you'd call it, but I thought I would read it to you guys.
I didn't even know you wrote one.
It wasn't really a poem. It's just called, I'll just read it to you. I don't know how to explain it. It's called Unexpected Feelings. And anyways, week one. Why should I get to be happy? You go out and every other pregnant mother, you pardon me, you go out and envy every other pregnant mother and hope they don't take it for granted. Engorged breasts, no baby to feed. I'm sorry, baby girl, I failed you. I used to feel strong and now I feel weak. Week two. I stayed busy, built a mailbox, painted painted a chain link fence, redid our backsplash, cleaned gutters, aka Natalia did. Week three. I see an expecting mama in the hot tub and feel bitter and angry. I want to tell her it's not worth anything if it'll make you think, what if? Week, I don't know. Six. The hardest part is that life goes on and it doesn't feel like it should, but we really have no other choice. I hate my body. week. I don't know. You'd almost be 2 months now, and I think of your little giggles every day. And that's what I got.
That's beautiful, V.
Thank you.
You nearly got me, so
Good.
screw you for that.
I was gonna say I hate it, but that felt rude.
Some of the things that people put in here that I loved were, this one was from Alyssa, one of our friends, and it's a quote from Pooh Bear. "Today was a difficult day," said Pooh. There was a pause. "Do you want to talk about it?" asked Piglet. "No," said Pooh after a bit. "No, I don't think I do." "That's okay," said Piglet, as he came and sat beside his friend. "What are you doing?" asked Pooh. "Nothing really," said Piglet. "Only I know what difficult days are like. I quite often don't feel like talking about it on my difficult days either." "But goodness," continued Piglet, "difficult days are so much easier when you know you've got someone there for you. And I'll always be here for you, Pooh." Which, to me, this seemed very, very,
Applicable?
yes, applicable to me, because I didn't want to talk about it, but having everybody there for me and having the support that I did is what got me through. So that one, when I first read it, shattered me. Another one that I thought I would read just to help people kind of understand how moms feel when they're going through this is actually Natalia's best friend wrote me a poem. And she really, I don't know, she somehow covered it amazingly. Okay. "The door to your room is shut, a place of love meant for you. My heart is shattered when it was supposed to be whole. A world of people were waiting for you too. It feels like I've missed out on everything. My body still thinks you've arrived. Every day I'm reminded what should have been. My body is postpartum. What was expected was never seen. But I was glad for the honor, I was blessed for the time. It was a privilege to be your mama, and I was proud to call you mine. I have to tell myself I didn't miss it. It was but a glimpse of what I will again receive. The hope in the future, with faith I'll believe. It's just a little while longer, and one day we'll meet. I'll feel your hands around mine and kiss your little feet. I'm going to see your curls flowing through the air, wrap them around my fingers as I play with your hair. I'm going to see that smile and the way your eyes look at mine. I'm going to take in your smell. It's just going to take some time. It's a hope I hold on to until that day I'll sit, and I will continue to tell myself that I didn't miss it. I will see you again. Beautiful.
Trash.
Very beautiful.
Trash type.
I'm just kidding. Oh, I just hate it so much.
Get
All
it?
this talk
Too.
about like her curls and her fingers around yours, just like holy Dinah. So unnatural.
It is. It's very sad, but, you know, it's life.
I'm sorry, I'm not like stronger.
Did you cry when you saw Natalia? I forget.
I don't
No,
think
I don't think
so.
I cried when I saw anybody.
I don't think either of us cried.
No.
I
Actually,
think
I
I was
think,
more strong when I was there than I am now.
yeah. Well, you make yourself strong for others. I think the only person that cried when they saw me was Nana, was Auntie.
Classic auntie.
Do you guys think I should read Mums?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, I think we should, like,
We
all
could
of this
post
is
it.
obviously very
It's
heavy,
quite
but
long.
Mums is,
Yeah.
like, very
Heavy.
heavy. So, to give you background on it, essentially, when Mum lost Molly, who would have been our older sister, our Nana had written her a poem in a very similar layout. And I actually don't think that Mom, like, she's like, how, you didn't know she wrote me a poem? I'm like, no, like, she brought out a lot of stuff after this happened to Vienna and Tanner. that had to happen from when she lost Molly. Like, she brought a bunch of stuff out. So she was able to take the time and kind of break it down and then make it fit for Vienna and for her circumstances. So
I would say, like, Mom almost did some healing through your experience.
Yeah, I would
Was
think so. But I also think it made her spiral.
well, that's true, but I was trying to be positive. But like I was gonna say, like the what I was gonna say is that Mom doesn't move on or function or heal from things. Like, yeah, she doesn't heal. And I think that because it's been what, 34 years?
34 years, yeah.
Yeah, that she finally did just a titch.
I think
And that
another
was good.
thing that really shit on us was that Vida and Molly were born in the same month. And that just feels horrible to me. I don't know why. It's not like it's a huge deal, but
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
yeah,
August 8th and
both.
August
Vida was the second.
the 2nd. I blanked there and I didn't want to say it wrong, and then I
No,
felt guilty that I
that's
didn't know
okay. No,
I think
no.
I'm pretty sure Molly was
I
the
think she was
8th
the
or the 18th.
22nd, wasn't she? 18th or
Oh my God.
22nd. No, you're
Dad's
probably right.
birthday's March 22nd. Is that what you're thinking of? I
I
don't know.
don't
We don't do
know.
birthdays. It's a
Whatever.
day of
Okay.
life or death, you know?
All right. We're here for this very, very heavy poem. Go.
Yes. Okay. So, it's called Awaiting, soon to be, and my mom, we call her Nessa, and then our Nana was called Nana Roz. Roslyn was her name. So mom put Nana Roz and Nessa. It is heavy, so if you're sensitive, maybe don't listen. We were awaiting that special day, our little girl so close to her due date. Dad was spreading the news with much pride. Mum was so joyful as her girth grew wide. Grandpa grinned from ear to ear. Nessa could not wait to be near. Alison and Derek longed her small face to see. Who would she look like, Tanner or V? King was waiting for his sister so patiently he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait for them to roll around playfully. Sorry, my mom's writing is a little rough. Grammy really swelled with pride. Gramps couldn't wait to take her for a sweet ride. Xena worked like angry on the dollhouse to be. Natalia dreamed of the crafts they would conquer as a team. Quinn, Bronson, and Killy waiting to be with her, so handsome, so silly. Taylor and Everly waited to hear of good news. Taylor back east waited too. Family and friends awaited with pleasure the arrival of Vida Blue, our dear treasure. Great expectations, shopping galore, we literally hit every store. Car seats and blankets, pink things and lace, diapers and dresses, all had a place. We are so ready, sweet baby, the time so near. Come on, sweet Vida, we want you to be here. Then when we thought all was good, 1 month away, something happened. Vienna would not feel her. The shock, the dismay, the terror, the fear. Please, please, this cannot be real. What is happening? Our little girl has stopped breathing. Doctors, nurses, and scans, this is not what we had planned. Vida Blue is not alive. My stomach, my guts have been ripped, torn. Why? Our baby has died. We must be dreaming. We cried and felt like screaming. Now the hours, now the now the something of having to wait a 4-hour drive to the hospital. I think the horrors of having to wait a 4-hour drive to the hospital. Great. A room, nurses and doctors and midwives. I don't care. I just want you to be alive. Mom and Tanner, Sandra too. The support and love, we will make it through. Tired, so tired and numb from the waist. Poor Vida will come. I can't wait to see her face. Sad and shocking, it hurts my heart so much. Our Vida Blue has arrived. I welcome her touch. So small, so sweet. Look at those tiny feet. Thank you, Tanner. You are so strong. I know you may not feel like it, but I'm never wrong. Our baby is dead. This cannot be. I was hoping, wishing she would breathe for me. Vitally still, we held her in something. Our hearts were broken, our stomachs did burn. Her daddy's face, king's twin for sure. Beautiful, so beautiful, it all seems a blur. We took pictures of her hands, toes, and face. We'll keep them forever in a special place. Vienna slept with Vida at her breast. Finally, a little nest. Her sweet
Rest.
baby. Rest or nest?
Rest.
Finally, a little rest. Yep.
Yep.
Well, a little nest. It was a little nest for her. A little rest for me. Her sweet baby, so gentle and soft, held her so long that hours got lost. Each breath I had, I wish was hers. Sadness so consuming, how my heart stirs. When it came time to say goodbye, we laid her down with a teary sigh. Give us the strength we ask as we are shaking. Soothe our hearts even though they are breaking. Now we know it's time for grieving, time for crying, time for weeping. All who were waiting soon heard of their sadness. They cried and prayed and uttered its madness. Loved ones gathered around, close and true, sent flowers and food, and visited too. And yes, that's what I'm going to share of that. But yeah, that was the poem that Mom wrote me, and that is very special to me. And I hope that if anybody is listening and someone that this happens to, I hope that you can do what my family did for them, because I think that helped me so much. And also a cute little side note, my sweet mother-in-law, she got to be in the room when Vida was born. And she initially didn't want to be in the room. Like, when Vida was going to be alive, she was not planning to be in the room. But since she was now passed, she wanted to be in the room. And she's very, not, I don't want to use the word prude. I don't know.
Conservative?
Conservative. She's very conservative and doesn't, like, anyways, like, afterwards, I was at her house visiting, and she goes, I'm so sorry, Vienna. I had to look. And I just, like, felt so bad that she felt that she had to say sorry for watching me give birth. But I would let anybody in the room with me giving birth. I'm like, it's such a beautiful, natural thing that we do. And when a woman is pushing out a baby, it's not sexual. There's nothing weird about it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And yeah. But yeah, that is what happened with me and losing her, and the things that got me through. And I'm sure there's so many things that I could probably share and talk about, but my brain also forgets a lot of those things.
Well, I remember. Oh,
sorry.
go ahead, B.
I
Before you
was gonna
forget, go.
say, yeah, you know me. I've become very insecure, which is weird for me because I've always been, like, when I was younger, even at the age of like 8, 9, 10. You guys know the song "Views for Vanity" by Christina Aguilera. That was like my song because I was vain. I was always confident, and I liked who I was, my body, and whatever. And I feel like in my poem that I read to you guys, you end up hating your body because you feel like it's failed you, which I know it hasn't. I still have a beautiful baby, and hopefully in the future I can have another one and stuff like that. But it's unfortunate feeling that towards your body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had a question, but you forgot it?
Uh, I was just gonna say that something that I found kind of odd when you were dealing with it is that you were okay once you were talking to people. Like you didn't want to see anyone for a while after. And then
Mm-hmm.
we saw your friends at the golf course,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't expecting to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you were so glad. Like you cried for a little bit, but it was just like it was strange to me that it was the initial meeting with each person that was so hard, but after it felt normal. I think like you said you were afraid to cry or um
Yeah, one, I didn't want to cry in front of them, which I did actually end up crying in front of a few of them. But it's just that initial, like, because they want to hug you, they want to say they're sorry, but I'm not the kind of person where I don't want you to say I'm sorry. I just want you to say hi and treat me like nothing's happened, which obviously is not a normal reaction for someone who's heard bad news about you. They don't want to be like, "Oh yeah, how's it going?" which I would rather that, which people aren't going to do. That's not normal. It's weird, which I know that, but so it was really nice when I did get thrown in to seeing people. I was just able to like have that conversation, get it over with, and then move on. And it was nice. And now life's back to normal. I mean, it's been August to September. It's been 2 months now, I think. Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and also another thing is brain fog. You get so frustrated with yourself because you're like, you don't feel postpartum, but obviously your body still is. Um, but I forget everything. I feel like retarded half the time. I'm like, my half my brain's just like trash, but it'll get back. I do know that, and that's fine. But I'm very, very thankful for what I do have. My boys, I love Tanner. He's strong. He's great. King's amazing, sweet, kind of a little bit of a devil, but that's that age. But yeah, that's my story. I don't know if I covered it well, but I tried.
It was your
I
story.
think
You
you
covered
covered
it
it
the best
great.
you could do.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions?
Not off the top of my head. I don't, but I also like I don't know. It's such a heavy thing to and I feel like, with Natalia it's such a heavy thing, but I've had like 4 years to learn how to deal with it and talk about it and joke about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I would say though, just joking about it, we joked. We made a lot of dark jokes. I feel like
With
part
me?
of yeah, like
Just
Yeah.
a
in
part
So
of
much
general.
dark
me getting
humor.
by was like
Yeah.
thriving on very dark humor
Yeah.
that other people I think maybe were repulsed by, but that's
Oh,
their own problem. So
fully. But it is truly how we, like the three of us, healed. It was morbid, dark humor, a lot of dead baby jokes, which again, some people might think we are psycho. Maybe
mm,
we are a
mhm.
little, but it's how else are you
Like
gonna deal with this crap?
so
Like,
many people say, like if you're not laughing, you're crying.
mm-hmm,
And I don't want to take away from like you experienced this, but like we also had our own experience going through it with you, watching you go through it. We
mm-hmm,
were expecting her. And so I think we're all still just like, oh, this is just trash.
mm-hmm,
And I think for people listening, if they're going to take away things about it, it's that uh well, we say with everything like have grace. You never know what someone's going through.
mm-hmm.
But if people are making dead baby jokes, maybe they're not psychos. Maybe they just lost a baby or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Another
it's
thing
true.
that living through all of this brought into our lives too was explaining loss to small people
Mm-hmm,
For small people.
and explaining to small people why sometimes we're not having good days,
mm-hmm,
In like regular non-crazy circumstances, you have good and bad days. But like now Bronson, he'll be like, "Mommy, are you frustrated?" Like,
mm-hmm,
like when it's a worse day. But like explaining to him, he even now he'll be like, "Well, where is Vida? It's like, well,
Yeah.
hun, and you have to explain it. And I know other people that have experienced loss, and maybe like a young child has lost their parent and then having to explain that, and depending on beliefs, and that is a very hard thing to do. And my heart goes out to anyone that has to explain that to their kids, because it's not easy, and you don't want to like scar them, but you don't want them to have no feelings about it. I don't know. That's a tough thing.
One thing that I found, oh, sorry.
Go V.
The one thing that I found amazing about when I did tell Kingsley and their reactions and everything, I find that kids are extremely resilient. They're amazing. Their hearts are so big. And he did understand what happened, and he still talks about her and all that stuff. But, and you also do see how they react weeks after. Like him seeing, I don't think he's ever seen me really cry much or be more reactive now and try to figure out my emotions and everything. He also has been a little bit more reactive and a little more emotional, and will now go to his room and go, "I'm sad, Mom," and like just these little things, or "I'm so frustrated," and he'll say these things now to like try and explain how he's feeling now. And it's crazy to see, but I think kids are amazing and resilient and just so special, and it's so nice having that. um but yeah. Also sorry, Talia. Another thing, um, seeing other people, there was a couple on TikTok, Alex and John, they lost their baby. I don't know how many weeks, but if you like, I don't know, I liked watching their stuff at the time because it was very, very similar time that we lost Vida, and they shared a lot of very relatable slash like kind of funny things on the topic once they were obviously comfortable and ready, because it's not an easy thing to do, especially when you share your entire life with people on the internet. But yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Ty.
I was just gonna ask, how did you guys tell King?
I don't exactly remember. We just sat him down on the couch. I don't remember.
Because you came home with no belly, right? And
Yeah.
so that probably would have been a big thing for him. Did he make comments on that or anything?
I don't think he made any immediate comments. We pretty much told him right away, though. Like, we went upstairs and, like, sat him down. We said, "Mommy and Daddy got to talk to you. Something really, really sad happened. Mommy no longer has a baby." And it's sweet, and I feel sad now, but he's said it now a few times that he would have liked to have met her. Just like when we had bought a puppy in November of last year, and then he had died at 6 months, and Kingsley wanted to watch him be buried, which again to me is wild that someone would want to see that, but he wanted to see him be buried, and he still talks about him, and nothing's like in a negative light. So I kind of feel guilty sometimes and wish that I did let him be there, but at the time I didn't even think of that. But I think,
You're trying to protect him, and you think
yes,
it's more of like a very morbid thing to see when you're so young.
it is, but
Yeah.
I don't know, I just wish I got to see her, Mom. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, like,
Oh.
next baby.
I think so. I feel like you did the right thing in him not seeing that, because
Yeah, I do too.
like you wouldn't know how it would affect him,
Yeah.
almost,
He's
right?
also saying that with hopefully not full understanding, like hopefully a child's understanding of a terrible situation rather than, he's not understanding it like an adult would,
Mm-hmm.
and how seeing her would,
Affect.
actually affect him. Yeah.
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 So don't
Or how
feel
seeing
guilty
him,
about that.
or him seeing her would affect you too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you already have enough going on, I think, in that situation too. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
Did you guys have any other
Well,
stories? Or, pardon me, questions?
I think that's it for questions.
Well, this was a lovely little episode.
Pressing,
Yes,
sad.
depressing and sad. But now, for those bitches that asked me, I'm just kidding. For people that wanted to know what happened, that's what happened, and that's how
Have
we
more
lost her.
patience, have more grace.
Yes. And thankfully, 99.9% of people were absolutely amazing. There was just a few people that really were wild to me. But but yeah, yeah. Thank you for joining us on I Didn't Kill Myself this week.